ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। उकारस्वन्धकारो वै ऋकारस्तन्निवर्तकः अन्धकारनिरोधित्वात् गुरुरित्यभिधीयते। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विना अधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयामदेवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागुं स्वस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ॐ प्रज्ञानां शुभ्रतानैः स्थिरचरनिकरव्यापिभिर्व्याप्य लोकान् भुक्त्वा भोगान् स्तविष्टान् पुनरपि दिषणोद्भासितान् कामजन्यान् पीत्वा सर्वान् विशेषान् स्वपिति मधुरभुङ् मायया भोजयन्नः माया सङ्ख्या तुरीयं परम् अमृतम् अजं ब्रह्म यत्तन्नतोऽस्मि। उपायेन निगृह्णीयात् विक्षिप्तं कामभोगयोः सुप्रसन्नं लये चैव यथा कामो लयस्तथा। उपायेन निगृह्णीयात् कामभोगयोगो विक्षिप्तं मनः सुप्रसन्नं लये चैव विक्षिप्तं निगृह्णीयात् यथा कामः लयः अपि तथा एव तस्मात्। There is no difference between the worldly pleasure seeking and seeking pleasure through laya. This also is an addiction. That is the idea. Any kind of pleasure leads to a vasana, and that vasana leads to a certain craving. Okay. Therefore, just avoid nigrinniyat. This is what we were seeing in the last session. Kim aparikinna vyavasaya matrameva manonigrahe upayaha na iti uchyate. So the aparikinnatvam, the a constant effort, is that the only way, because that is what the yogis are prescribing. So is that the only means is the question. So Bhashyakara said na iti uchyate. Not so, because vakshyamaneena upayena kamabhoga vishayeshu vikshiptam manah nigrinniyat nirundhyat atmani eva ityartha. Okay, so by the ways that is going to be shown in the ensuing shlokas, through those methods and means, bring your mind back to the Atma and take them away from Kama Bhoga Vishaya. And layaha tasmin laye cha suprasannam ayasavarjitam api. Okay, from that laya also, where there is a total suprasannatvam, there is a some kind of a pleasure because you are temporarily without the mind in which the vrittis are there. So it gives a certain happiness. It is good also because it brings you a certain kind of mind control. Therefore, it is good as a means, but don't get addicted to that because it is also a state or a state of experience, which also is not the final jnanam. Suprasannam cha suprasannam chet kasman nigrihyate iti. So if it is a happy state, suprasannam, then why should I take it out of that state? Is a question. Therefore, Pashikara says, Yasmat yata kamaha anarthahetu tata layaha api ataha nigraha valyadapi nirodhavyam ityartha. Okay? The nigrahavati layadapi nirodhavyam. So from laya also, you should restrain your mind because that is also an anartha hetu. That also here Bhashikara takes laya as deep sleep, sushupti. Sushupti, see, your body has been given, mind has been given for you to gain jnanam and gain moksham. This upadhi is there, this manushya janma is there for you to gain moksha, not to just dissolve your mind and sleep in sushupti. What is the point? For that you don't have to live. Okay, therefore, Bhashikara doesn't take the samadhi, which is an active samadhi, as laya, but he takes only the sushupti, deep sleep, as laya, and he says that is also anartha hetu only. So it's all the three states are vyavahar, whether it is jagrat or swapna or sushupti. All of them lead you to cycle of birth and death. It is samsara only because all Ajnanis, everybody is going to Sushupti, So extending your time of Sushupti is not going to make you any better. Dukkham sarvamanusmritya kamabhogan nivartayet ajam sarvamanusmritya jatam naivatu pashyati. Dukkham sarvam anusmritya kamabhogat chittam nivartayet. Ajam brahma सर्वं सर्वं ब्रह्मैव इति अनुस्मृत्य जातं न पश्यति द्वैतं न पश्यति अभावात्. Therefore, basically, why don't you just look at the dukkha in all that is here? All the kama bhoga is dukkhamayam. Okay, so why don't you see through that? That is viveka. Why is it dukkha? Because it is always dukkha mishritam only. Any kind of happiness also, there is always a tinge of unhappiness, and it leads to unhappiness over time. Anything which made you happy at one time is going to make you unhappy later. Whether even during its presence it will make you unhappy, and even if it doesn't do that, by its absence at some point you are going to be unhappy that you are going to lose it, because anything you gained in time will go away in time. Therefore all this are dukkham only. So because any duality is bound by grief, so there is no second thought about whether you need moksha or not, because anything that you take, any worldly happiness, anything which gave you happiness, is going to be a source of pain, unhappiness at some point in time. And even when you are undergoing a certain pleasure, even at that time also, it is always sukha dukkha mishra only. There is always some unhappiness in everything which is happy, and in every unhappiness also there is some happiness. So life is all full of mixture only. Sukha dukkham. That's why it is called taratamyam, dvandvam. All that is said because it's all pairs of opposites. Life is full of pairs of opposites. So you need to see through that. It's so easy to see because we have lived enough in our life. So we have seen enough things. So to just see the fact that there is a dukkha in samsara is so easy. So any Siddhanti, you won't ask, even a Abrahamic person, religious person, everybody will say that this world is full of grief. Whether a Buddhist or a ISKCON person or Advaiti or a Abrahamic person, everybody will see that because it's a very simple fact for all of us to see. The only question is then what is moksha? So what gives you the true liberation? Can arresting your mind make you free? It can only for the time you have arrested the mind, not beyond that. But we are talking about a moksha where at all 3 points in time you are free, you are happy. That kind of a moksha is possible only through jnanam because your Swarupa is free, it is not bound, it is not limited. There is no dukkha in your Swarupa. Hence, kaha sa upayaha iti. Okay, so you have been saying Vakshyamana, Lakshanena, Vakshyamana. So what is that upaya? There is a question. So for that, this Karika is presented by Gaudapada Karika. Uchyate sarvam tvaitam avidya vijrumbitam dukkhameva. So why is dvaitam dukkham? Because it is avidya vijrumbitam, it is born out of ignorance. Anything which is not true to the reality is always bound to mislead you and create unhappiness. The more you are closer to the truth, the better you are. It is there in any situation, anything, even in worldly thing we can see. The more closer you are to certain realities, you are aware of realities, you are awake to realities, then you are better off. The more you are colored in your vision, the more painful it becomes. Okay, even things which will give you pain, if you really know what is the truth there, the pain just dissipates. But if you are in an imaginary world, it is always a problem. So this Dvaitam is even more because here your Swarupa is totally free. It is Sukha Swarupa. There is no Dukkha. Dukkha is not possible in an unlimited thing. It is untainted. There is no Sankochatvam. So there is no limitation. It is Anantam. Ananta Sat, Ananta, you know, Jnanam. It is Kala Atitam. So if you actually see, it is all existence only. So there is no question of dukkha here. Yeah, the Swarupa is just still. It is like unperturbed. It is unhindered, unconstrained by anything. Therefore, it is totally free. It's like you are floating, that kind of Swarupa. There is no floating also because for you to float also there should be something to float in. So it is like weightless, nothing to pull you down because it is Satta Matram. That kind of a Swarupa being what you are, the Dvaita Bhava makes you limited. It makes you see things which are not you. There are zillions of things that you see that you are not. The sun you are not, the moon you are not, the earth you are not, the people around you are not. And all of them are creating certain disturbances in you because you are looking at them and you have an agenda for each one of them. You want them to be different. You want cows to be protected. You want more dharmic people around you. You want, your own belief system to be propagated. There are so many, this is what I want, this is not I want. It's all cause of what? The Dvaita. The more and more you have all those things because you identify yourself with a certain limited individuality, there is always a pain with it. There is anxiety, there is disappointment. All those things go with it. Hence, Dvaitam Sarvam Avidya Vijrumbitam Dukkhameva. Because you are away from your Swarupa. The more and more you are away from yourself, the more and more dukkhi you are. As the mind gets more complicated, you get psychologically more disturbed, then it is dukkha only. People who have more complexes, they may have money, they may have comfort, but if the mind is overloaded by vasanas, what is this comfort and money going to give them? That's why kaupinavantah kalubhagyavantah. Kaupinavantopi kalubhagyavantah. That's how Swamiji used to say. Even when a person only has a loin cloth, nothing more, still the person can be happy. That's how you should look at it. Not that only who wears loin cloth will be happy. That's not the point. That means you do put a VIP trouser, then you won't be happy. Does that mean that? There are people who interpret like that. Some of the traditionalists will say, oh, there is something called Kaupina Panchaka, which talks about the glory of Kaupina. So if you are following Shastra, you should wear only Kaupina, not trousers. That's what they say. See, I have nothing for or against Kaupina. Okay. The point is, Kaupina Panchakam's intent is not to talk about the Mahima Mandanam of Kaupina. That is not the intent. The intent is even when the person doesn't have any luxury, doesn't have any money, doesn't have a shelter of his own, in fact, doesn't even have a proper dress, no food for the next lunch or dinner. Person, all he has is just one loin cloth sitting under a tree. Okay, still the person can be happy. Why? Because all that is here is that person, and that person has that jnana. Okay, so that is Kaupina Vanchaka. So the Sukha and Dukkha is, that's why somebody said, no, it's a state of mind. Happiness is a state of mind. Because I'm not saying you don't need money. Okay, that's not the point. Even with money, person can be unhappy. Even without money, person can be happy. That's all it is. If you are lucky, you have all the punya karma phala, and you are able to have money and still be happy, right? Being untouched by all the implications of holding possessions. Possession is not a problem actually. Owner sense of ownership and control is where the problem is. I own this. This is under my control. I want it to be this way. These kind of thoughts are the problem. Dukkhameva. The more and more Dvaita buddhi, avidya is there, then it is dukkha, dukkha, dukkha. So just let go, you are happy. That's it. You have to just let go. Your mind has to let go all the clingings that it has. So the clutches have to be let go. We recognizing that I am not having any issues with my legs. I don't have to hold on to clutches because it's purely ignorance that I think that my legs have a problem. That's why I need the clutches. I cannot stand on my feet. If I think like that, then I have a problem. But if you let go, You are free. Don't hold on. Okay. That's what he says. Tvaitam avidya vijrumbitam dukkhameva iti anusmritya kama bhogat nivartaye vairagya bhavanaya. The virakti. Virakti means objectivity, not hating. Hating is also another desire only. Raga dvesha. Dvesha also is a problem. Vairagya just see the limitations and do value superimposition. Shobhanadhyasa. The value, if you add certain value, non-existent value on certain things, then there is a problem. Car is useful for to take you from one place to the other. Bus can also do the same job. Bicycle can also do the same job. But car is more quicker. You can have an air conditioning. You can be devoid of pollution. Fine, right? These are realistic values. But car is a status symbol. Car is a luxury. People look at me as a better guy because I have a car. If I lose the car, then I am going to be seen as, useless fellow. All those things, right? Then we attach so many things. Some scratch and dent happens in the car, then that's all. You don't sleep for 1 month. You keep shouting at people around you. They don't park their bikes better. Oh, the Indian population is so bad with traffic. They don't know how to park their cars. Somebody has hit my car when I had parked it somewhere. This, that. And your mind is so disturbed. You can't sleep. Some bad dreams also come. Okay. Like somebody, rashly driving their bike and hitting your car. All that. Then you are. This is one thing, right? Like that, there are 100 things in life. And by the time you recognize that, okay, these are all things which were distracting you away from the real intent of the birth, by then already you are like 70 years old, right? This is what is called Maya, the other Maya, not Jagat Karanam and all that. Okay. This is Maya Moh, they say, no, in Hindi. So this is the problem. So that Vairagya Bhavana is seeing things as they are, not randomly superimposing value, non-existent values on things. So this kama nimittaha bhogaha kama bhogaha. The pleasure crossed by your wants or the enjoyments driven by your kama. Okay. The icha vishaya. Things of pleasure, objects of enjoyment. That is kama bhoga. From those, okay, from the objects, sensory objects, tasmat viprasrittam manaha nivartayat. So the scattered mind, just bring it back to what the Brahma Vastu. The Brahma Vastu being all that is, the reality of every object is Brahma. So just start recognizing that. That's all. I told in the last session also, bringing back does not mean like a yogi. Oh, I am going to shut my mind from all the see. Immediately our mind thinks like that. You have to be very conscious of it. So the more and more you think, oh, there are a lot of things which are there outside, which will distract me. So I have to bring my mind back from them, take my mind out of all these things which are there, then put it back inside me into the Atma. You start thinking like that, then that means you are already on a trip. Okay. Because you are attributing so much reality to the external world, the non existent reality. Because the fact is, whatever you see as outside is also Brahman. That is a fact because there is nothing which is away from your Swarupa consciousness. You cannot knock off consciousness from any experience, any perception. But all the objects can be knocked off from the consciousness, because other than consciousness you cannot. There is nothing else, where it's only name and form. Therefore, every name and form you are seeing, you see that it is Brahma. So you don't have to bring the mind inside and all that. Okay, then you are giving so much reality to Dvaita only. That is why this Laya is not accepted, because it only gives more and more reality. The more you want to be in that Laya by being away from the world, that means the more you are afraid of the external world. So that means you are giving, attributing so much reality to it. It can disturb you. Therefore, dukkam sarvam anusmritya kama bhogat nivartayet, and do what? Ajam. Vashigara says Brahma. Ajam means Brahma. That is the only Ajam. Think about it. Is there anything which is unborn other than Brahma? Everything was born at some time. Huge mountains were born, the earth, even if you take Big Bang theory, whatever theory, because things are born means they are all modifications of something else which was there before. That's what is the birth. So plant was born from some other things. From the seed is born from another tree. So everything is like, it's a cycle. But the unborn means it has to be beyond time. Everything else is within time. Anything within time is born. The only thing which is beyond time is Brahma. That Brahma Sarvam इति एतत् शास्त्र आचार्योपदेशतः अनुस्मृत्य. See, very beautiful. Wherever the words like anusmritya comes, Bhashyakara adds. How to do anusmarana? For you to do anusmarana, you should already have what? The experience or knowledge of it. Then only you can recollect. Recollection implies a certain knowledge or an experience, right? An experience also can be recollected. You had an experience, you recollect that experience. Like that, here it is the jnanam has to be brought back. And how? Shastra Acharya Upadeshataha. Through the Shastra Acharya Upadesha, the Brahman has to be revealed. That is the only way for you to gain Brahman. Because the revelation is necessary for it being your own Swarupa. Since it is not something to be objectified, you have to suspend your incidental status of being an over. Pramatritvam has to be given up, because the Pramata's content is Brahman. So if the Pramatritvam has to be given up, then the Pramana has to be outside you. It cannot be something that you employ. It needs to be an independent means of knowledge, like a mirror. Okay, Darpanavarti. Therefore, the only way for you to gain this is Shastracharyopadeshataha. Shastropadesha, Acharyopadesha, both are same. Because Acharya is doing Upadesha of only Shastra. Then only the person is an Acharya. Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam Gurumeva Abhigachet. So all those you need to bring in here. Acharya means what Acharya? There are so many Acharyas today. It should be the proper Vedanta Shastra, Shastravit, and who can teach. Shastra Acharyopadeshataha Anusmritya, by bringing that knowledge to use, employing it. Tad viparitam dvaita jatam naiva tu pashyati. Jatam naiva tu pashyati. So he says dvaita jatam. So the duality, which is the one which is born, because ajam brahma, then jatam na pashyati. See, the karika itself is so beautiful. He says ajam sarvam anusmritya jatam naiva tu pashyati. So one is ajam, the other is jatam. So by just seeing the unborn, you don't see the born. Okay, it's like a paradoxical statement. How do you see the unborn? There's so much. Somebody is just to keep raising the accelerator of the bike here. Isn't that? It's been going on for the last 1.5 hours. I've closed all the windows. Still, it is so much noisy. Look at that. I don't know if they are testing the bike or what is going on. Anyway, sorry about it. Okay. Anusmritya tadviparitam dvaitajatam naiva pashyati. So the jatam is qualified as dvaita jatam, born as dual, as though born or born from the dual perception, from mithya maya jagat. Na pashyati. Why Bhashyakara says abhavat? You don't see because it is not there. Okay, but how did you see? Because of mithyatvam, avidya vijrumbitam. Therefore, na pashyati, because it doesn't exist, so you don't see. Because you have the jnanam, viveka buddhi. Laye sambodhayet chittam, vikriptam samayet punaha, sakashayam vijaniyate, samapraptam na chalayet. This is an often quoted verse. Okay, one of the famous verses in this Karika. The Sakashayam Vijaniyat. Pujya Swamiji used to relish these kind of verses because it lends itself to lot of modern psychology. The Sakashayam, the Kashayam, Swamiji sees it as unconscious. Okay, the core personality, the psychological burden every individual carries, the inner child, is called Kashayam. Like we used to drink this Kashayam, no? In my childhood days, my grandmother used to give Kashayam. Every other day, you will have some Sukka Kashayam, Vepala Kashayam, something they'll give, some decoction. Okay. Means it is the essence of certain herbal, uh, you know, leaves and products. That is Kashayam. So here also Kashayam means your unconscious, something which is underneath, the distilled core psychological issues. That is the one which hinders your ahankara from getting enlightened. Yeah, the biggest obstruction for gaining the jnanam comes from your antakarana only, and it is centered around the ahankara. So this falsifying this ahankara is what is the whole jnanam about. And the more and more it is loaded with this kashayam, the unconscious, the more the problem to gain the jnana. That is why the whole Sharanagati and Guru Sushrusha, all these are spoken about. Guru Paduka, Sthavam. Why surrender to Guru? Because the more you give up this ahankara, the easier for one to gain jnana. But it is very difficult. That is another person. How can I go and surrender myself to that person? Okay. So that then at least do it to Bhagavan. Nowadays, some people say the Guru means somebody who has already died. Only to that Guru this person is able to surrender because they don't see the ego in front of them. So some Mahapariva, Sai Baba, something people will have, because that person is no more in front. The current gurus, then they'll find very difficult, because that person said this, that. Then you impute motive, and then some qualities in that person. Then there are a lot of other things which go in, so you can't accept that guru as somebody worthy of your surrender. That is how the mind is now. Okay, I'm not blaming it. That we have to see that fact. But 30 years back, if you see, even we ourselves were so easily, we used to just go and surrender to the gurus who were there that time. But things have changed because of certain, you know, uh, socio-environmental changes. But the problem is, how will you get away from this ahankara unless you slowly start surrendering it? And Shraddha is possible only when there is the complete surrender. Because only when that Shraddha is there, the Jnanam can take place. Ahankara has to come down. Once you gain the Jnana, Ahankara will go away. But in order for you to gain Jnana, the Ahankara has to almost go away. How do you achieve this? Only way to achieve this is through Shraddha. That Shraddha is Acharyopasanam. Okay, Pranipatya. Bhagavan says in Gita, Tadviddi Pranipadena Pariprashnena Sevaya Upadekshanti Te Jnanam Jnaninastattvadarshinaha. That Pranipatanam, Prapatti. That's why Vaishnavas, they talk about Prapatti. In fact, there for them, Sharanagati is a huge thing. And Prapatti is one of the things for them. This is Tadviti Pranipadena. That's why Bhashigara, there also, Guru Shushrooshaya, he says. Okay. Anyway, coming back. So this Ahankara has this Kashaya. And that's Akashayam Vijaniya. So the whole unconscious. So you need to work on it. You need to bring all those things out, like anger, disappointments, hurts, ability to trust people. These are all things which are gaining more and more complications in modern days. Earlier, there used to be a certain simplicity. We used to trust people. Now, the ability to trust is gone. Okay. It has been made to be gone. Okay. They have created a social situation where you are not able to trust. Even out of 100 people, even one guy is suppose is a wrong guy. Okay. He's masquerading as a guru or sannyasi. You don't highlight it, because you need to keep the shraddha of people. But now what do? They just highlight that one alone, so that you can lose trust on all the 100. That is what is happening. So if you can't trust, then how will you surrender? If you can't surrender, how will you gain jnanam? That is the problem. So Shastra, so long as the Acharya is only talking Shastra, so at the time of the Shravanam, the Guru becomes, Shastra only. That's why anybody who is teaching, it's called Vyasa Pitam. At that time, you are assuming the position of Vyasa. Every Purana, everything that is written, it will have Suta Uvacha or Veda Vyasa Uvacha. It's all Vyasa only. Any knowledge comes from Vyasacharya. Satyavati Hridayanandano Vyasaha Yasya Udgalitam Vangmayam Amridam Mukodgalitam Vangmayam Amridam Jagat Pivati. The whole world is drinking the divine nectar which is flowing from the mouth of Vyasa. Namah Parasarasunam Satyavati Hridayanandanaha Vyasaha Yasya Mukodgalitam Vangmayam Amridam Jagat Pivati. That stature is given to the person who is teaching. एवमनेन ज्ञानाभ्यासवैराग्यद्वय उपायेन लये सुषुप्ते लीनं सम्बोधयेत् मनः आत्मविवेकदर्शनेन योजयेत् लये सम्बोधयेत् चित्तम्. So if you can take seventh case there and say this is Sati Saptami. Okay, laye chet sushupte leenam chet manaha sambodhayet. And not adhikaranam. If we take seventh case as in laya, then this will mean when it is in laya, you make it gain knowledge. You can take it like that. No, laye chittam sambodhayet means buddha bodhaya. Okay. Now that's not what is taken here. It is sati. Sati means layes eva manena jnanabhyasa vairagya dvaya upayan. There are two things: jnanabhyasa and vairagya. Brahma vidyayam yoga shastre. Vairagya stands for everything: viveka, samadhi, shatka sampatti, mumukshutvam, everything. And jnanabhyasa is this going through this teaching. Both have to go together. For sannyasi also, vairagya, karma yoga in some form is there. You have to be in that lifestyle. And jnanabhyasa goes with it. By that what? Sushupte laye teenam. The mind which is like sleeping in laya. Sambodhayet. How do you create that knowledge? Educated by Atma Viveka Darshanena Yojayet. So by understanding what is Atma, that in that knowledge make it connected. Basically gain the jnanam. Bring your jnanam back and back. Dididhyasanam kuru. Chittam manaha iti anarthantaram. What is anarthantaram? One more anartha. Chittam is anartha, so this is one more anartha. Or there are so many anarthas, chittam is another anartha. Does that mean that? No, it anarthantaram, yes, that nanj is used, na arthantaram, that's what it means. Anarthantaram means na arthantaram. It is not another, it doesn't mean arthantaram means it's not two different things. Chittam means manaha. Okay. So there is no difference. Manaha only it means because sambodhayet chittam, Bhashikara says sambodhayet manaha. Because here it is the manas buddhi. Manas buddhi all same, your intellect, understanding. Because chitta means memory typically, right? So laye manaha sambodhayet. Vikshiptam manaha sambodhayet. So vikshiptam kama bhogeshu samayet punaha. Okay, when it is okay, sambodhayet when it is in laya, when it is vikshipta in kama bhoga, because vikshiptam is already in the previous karika, it is said, right? Kame. Okay, vikshiptam is used along with kama. Where in the 42nd, upayena nigrinniyat vikshiptam kama bhogayoho. Therefore, he uses, when he says vikshiptam, you have to understand he's talking about, oh my god, it keeps moving up. Okay. It is vikshiptam is kama bhogeshu. Shamayet means bring shama, bring it to a standstill, to a restraint, to equipoisedness. Prashamayati, make it shanta. Okay. Kama bhogeshu samayet vikshiptam manaha punaha. Evam punah punaha abhyasataha लयात् संबोधितं विषयेभ्यश्च व्यावर्तितं नापि साम्यापन्नं अंतरावस्थं सकषायं सरागं बीजसंयुक्तं मनः इति विजानीयात्. What is this sakashayam? Again and again, punah punaha, Abhyasataha, again and again through effort. What are you doing? Layat sambodhitam. When it is all the time sleeping, tired, you say, no, don't do that. Come to the Atmavastu, this jnanam. Bring it into the nishtha of Brahman. And the other part, in Vekan, what are you doing? Vishaye. See, that's why I was saying Laya is in Sushupti and Samkshepa, Vikshepa is in Vekan and dream. Predominantly Vekan. Dream anyway you can't control. But Vekan, it is going after Vishaya. So there, Shamaye, during Vekan, bring the Shama. Reduce indulgence. Whatever is essential for you to do, just do it, but with the Ishvara Buddhi. But keep reducing that also. And keep your mind in Nishtha. See, there will always be something or other that you can do. But is it necessary for you to do it for the sake of just raga and dvesha? You don't have to. Purely what is your duty, just do that. Other than that, keep your mind in nishtha. You don't have to think, oh, I cannot sit idle. Sitting idle is not sitting idle. You are in nishtha. Physical action alone is useful is not true. Okay, just by being in nishtha also, you are actually helping the jagat. Okay, that shanti that you are touching, you are tapping, that also is beneficial to the jagat. Somebody is sitting and chanting Veda. You can say, oh, he is just sitting and making some sound. What is the use? He can go and plow the field. He can go and do some building construction. So, can you say that only physical work is useful? If somebody is chanting some mantra or somebody is singing some song, is it all useless? See, we spend so much time sitting and watching TV, right, or watching internet. You don't feel guilty about all those. But if you sit and doing some dhyana, then for a long time, then you think, no, no, we have to do some activity. So we need to look at all these things. Okay, basically, the world is progressing. You are a spoke in the wheel. There are certain things you are called upon to do, okay, which you should not avoid. Beyond that, everything is ragadvesha only. Because you are not able to sit, you are driven by a restlessness. There is some raga. You want to do something, or you are, I don't know, I mean, every individual is different. But something is pushing you. So that is where this shamaye, bring your mind back. Okay, you don't need to get up and go and do that. Bring it back and put it in the Atma Jnana Nishtha. More and more you do because you let go. That's what I keep saying, no, let go. Just let your mind in the Vastu only. So everything else is all incidental. Okay. If you can do that, Vishayebhyascha Vyavartitam. Bring it back from all the Vishaya. Even in that Vishaya, see Brahman only. When you are acting, because you are duty bound, you are doing a certain duty, do it with an understanding that the duty is Brahman. Through the duty, whatever you are doing, the objects, the karma, karanam, everything is Brahma. Brahmarpanam, Brahmavi, Brahmagno, Brahmanahutam, Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam. Everything is Brahman. Just do only for the time when you have to do a certain thing as a duty, you do that. Don't keep on doing all the ragadvesha kamya karma and then say, oh, I am going to go and have some nice ice cream, but I will see that ice cream as Brahman and then go and enjoy. That's not the point here. That is, you are cheating yourself. No, that's ragadvesha purely. But I mean, if you have a very compelling raga, fine, that's okay. But don't make it as an excuse to do whatever you want. Okay. Napi samyat apannam antaralavastam. So there is, suppose you are trying to do this laya sambodha and vikshipta shamana Vikshepa Shamana or whatever, then you are not able to do. You are somewhere in between. You are not able to completely take it away and come to Laya, nor you are able to, you are actually going fully into it. You are somewhere in between. That means Akashayam Saragam Bijayuktam Manaha Iti Vijaniyat. You still have that Bija, the unmanifested Ragadvesha, and all the psychological overloads on your Ahankara. So you need to work through them. You need to sublimate them. That sublimation is, how is it possible? Only through Ishvara. Ishvara only can take it out. So you need to relate to Bhagavan. So this Karma Yoga, all that, your emotional maturity is possible when you can relate to Ishvara. The inner child rests only when it finds the parents, which are Parvati Parameshwarau. वागर्ताविव सम्पृक्तौ वागर्तप्रतिपत्तये जगतः पितरौ वन्दे वन्दे पार्वती परमेश्वर. They are the parents. Parvati Parameshwara, we can say if you are a Vishnu Bhakta, it can be Lakshmi, Vishnu, whatever. Doesn't matter. It's Ishvara and the Shakti. That is where you go and rest, your inner child rest. Then the emotional, psychological things, they sublimate. A lot of ways by which it can sublimate. All this, they do all this Radha Kalyanam and this and that, Gopika Geetam. It's all what you are sublimating your emotional wants by elevating it into a divine will expression. A divine expression sublimates it. That's how the unconscious has to be resolved. Or you need to be in some ashrama, do some service, and with the guidance of the Guru, you can slowly get over some of these issues. That's why this Antevasi and Guru Prapatti, all that Sharanagati is very important because these can be processed only through that. You cannot yourself process it. No, it's not possible because it is you. In fact, you won't even recognize a lot of your own unconscious issues because that is what you are, the inner child. It's like the multiple personalities, they won't know who they are, right? Many personalities won't recognize the others because that is you, right? So it defines who you are. So now it has to be sublimated, it has to be grown, means you need to trust on a Ishvara or a Guru or somebody who can take and help you with that. That is a Shakashayam. Saraga bija samyuktam manaha iti vijaniyat. So understand there is something still to be worked upon. Then once you work upon it, then once that kashayam goes away, then you get the samya. Tataha api yatnataha samyam apadaye. Then the samyam, the brahmajnanam, the shanti you gain. Once you remove that kashaya, then what happens? You gain that shanti, nischalatvam, brahmavatvam. That is samya. And he says, Yada samapraptam bhavati, samyam is obtained. You gain that sahaja samadhi, then samaprapti abhimukhi bhavati, yata tataha tat na chalayet vishayabhimukam na kuryat. Once you have gained that, after that, try to be in that nishta all the time. Slowly it becomes your own. That's the That is jnana nishtha. Laye sambodhayet chittam vikshiptam samayet punaha sakashayam vijaniyat samapraptam na chalayet. The whole journey is encapsulated here. The three states of existence, wake and dream, deep sleep, You resolve that, and then once you are there, halfway in between, understand the unconscious is hindering you, process that, and then you gain the steadiness in the Brahmanishta, and don't disturb it after that. Let it just be in it. Then it is moksha only. नास्वादयेत् सुखं तत्र निस्सङ्गः प्रज्ञया भवेत् निश्चलं निश्चरचित्तम् एकीकुर्यात् प्रयत्नतः न आस्वादयेत् that sukham. Okay, the sukham which happens even when you are going through the nishtha, there is a sukham which happens. Also, some siddhis also come. You can see the more you start being in that nishtha, certain siddhis will come. Okay, siddhis as in you will find that you are able to see certain things ahead. There are many things which can happen. Okay, so now aswadaye, don't just get embroiled in it. Don't just start enjoying that sukha. Every stage there can be a hindrance, there is a distraction, because there are many things which you will like, which you will fall in love in this whole journey, right? That is what happens with people who come into Vedanta, go for Vyakarana or Nyaya or some process. They are so intoxicated into this meditation thing. They'll say this Veda. I have seen many people who have come to Vedanta will say Vedanta is all fine, but this place is so powerful. If you go and sit in this place, there is so you can gain into deep meditation. All that I hear. Okay, and then people also are not able to come out of this dasya bhakti and sakya bhakti and all that. Okay, that also another other. There are a lot of these things which will, because all these things are also in some form or the other just pleasure seeking. Your dasya bhakti, it is also a psychological want, that I want to be under the umbrella of protection by some superpower, and I love that superpower. He is like my fatherly person. I see that God as my hero, which is all good for a start, but they become again clutches if you want to really be free. So Vedanta tries to take away every clutches, every kind of clutch from you. Crutch or clutch, whatever it is, yeah. The support, and makes you to stand on your feet, because your Swarupa is like that. It doesn't need any support. But all these things, or all this sukha which come, the bhakti bhava that is there, is all things which will also again bind you only. And your taste for things like Vyakarana, Nyaya, Bhakti Rasa, Sahitya, which is all okay. Once you have the jnana, you can enjoy all these things also along with it. Okay. So we are not stipulating that you should not, once you are a Vedanti, you should not enjoy anything. That's not the point. The point is, by getting too embroiled in these things, the person doesn't even pursue jnanam properly. That is where these become hindrance. That's why Karikakara says, na aswadayet sukham tatra nissangaha prajnaya bhavete. Don't get attached to it. Nischalam nischara chittam eki kuryat. So collect your mind, take it away from all these things. Make effort to just keep it on Brahman. Then only you can gain Brahmanishta and gain moksha. Okay. Aninganam anabhasam nishpannam brahma tattada. In the next verse, Karika. Na ingate so nengate sopama smrita yata deepo nivatastaha Nengate sopama smrta in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says. Nengate, it doesn't flicker. Aninganam manabhasam. Nishpannam Brahma. Okay, so without any ingana, without any flickering, the as you steadily stay in the Swarupa, then it is Brahman only. So, very beautiful set of Karikas here. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಗುರುಜಿ.
I see some comment, but that's okay. Chat.